Welcome to this particular session where we focus on the E3 ecosystems, right? When we are looking at the ecosystem, basically what we're trying to do is to analyze the environment in which Daistruk is operating from, right? The theory behind this, if we are looking at the external environment, there are models that we use to analyze the environment. And those models are three. We've got Porter's diamond, we've got Porter's 5 forces model, and we've got the Pestily analysis. Then you also need to analyze this case study using from a market environment, like your customer analysis, competitor analysis. You also need to do a sound stakeholder analysis, right? To understand who the stakeholders are, what value they add, right? And from an internal environment, you need to understand the assets, the resources of the organization. You need to look at the value chain of the organization as well, right? That being said, we understand that Daistruk is operating in a developed economy, right? Which is well regulated and with a well-regulated stock exchange. This is important for us to understand the environment as well, right? And being in the logistical space, right, we need to understand, if we look at this part here, if we look at this part here, it's telling you the value chain, right? Suppliers. So we need to understand the suppliers of Daistruk in detail. What activities are involved in the internal logistics, as well as the inbound, the outbound logistics, and the nature of the customers that we have. And these are the activities here, right? Now, we need to think of how to improve the organization's business model through technology, right? We need to be able to reduce the costs. We need to be able to make the process lean, right? Now, for instance, inbound logistics includes or involves receiving and checking goods, which may take the form of parts, materials, and or finished products, right? Now, so how is this process being done at the present moment? Is it being done through humans or with the aid of humans, right? Is there no technology that we can use to do this for us? So we can actually look at automating the process here, process automation, or using robots, right? Now, can we also use artificial intelligence in a way, right? And how do we manage the data for decision making? So if you automate, it means that everything that you're receiving immediately is given a number, which goes into the system, right? With detailed description of the product that you are receiving. How do you store the goods, right? Now, perhaps humans are carrying, or maybe we are using forklifts, but we could actually eliminate the intervention of humans and use automated forklifts. Updating inventory records, is it being done in real time, right? If we introduce scanners, right, automatically everything that gets scanned into the system, right, gets a barcode and is numbered properly, right? So we need to look at all these, and you need to think of whether if there's a way of actually automating this particular process, right? That's improving the operations of the organization and improving their business model. Also, it reduces the time that we take doing particular processes. Because here you can see there's a human actually sitting in a forklift, right? And with a package here. So we can eliminate humans entirely and just computerize the forklifts. Then humans can focus on other things that would need human intervention, right? Outbound logistics also includes reverse logistics, whereby goods move from customer to the entity. That may be due to return of defective goods or the recycling of. So we want to reduce defective goods, right? And in order to do that, we need proper inspection to be done, right? We can actually use machines that can detect if there are any defects, right? And when we deliver to the customer, we also do the same. Each stage in the flow of goods depends upon the maintenance and communication of accurate information. We're talking about data that just now, right? Logistics requires the effective communication of information both within the entity and between the entity and its suppliers and customers. So how are we managing our data or the movement of information? So we are looking at a situation where we can actually automate all these functions. The scale and complexity of logistics varies between entities, depending on their size and the nature of their business. For example, a manufacturer such as Malta Motors has very different needs from a retailer such as Murdoch Supermarkets. So we now look at how we liaise with our clientele, right? Malta Motors, right? So in analyzing the environment, this is the market environment, right? And the internal environment that we're talking about, right? Because when you talk of customers, you're looking at the internal environment. You need to think of relationship marketing and how you can improve your relationship with the customer. Right? By looking at the nature of the customer, you can think of how you can model your business to ensure that the customer is satisfied? I'm not sure if you guys have any thoughts here.
No, fine actually.
Okay. So businesses spend a vast amount on logistics. The total cost incurred by Roundlandian business for the year ended 31 was $226.2 billion. So we have a market share that we have as an organization. But what is our objective? Our objective is being the market leader and perhaps taking the entire market share. Right? Now, here are layers here, and we fall within the 3PL. Third-party logistics provider provides a wide range of services associated with logistics, from warehousing goods to their delivery. So we are involved in a value system by providing our clients with from warehousing to delivery of their goods, right? Most large businesses use some variation of the 3PL arrangement, which potentially offers a number of advantages. But let's look at what the 4PL offers, right? A 4PL provider extends the 3PL model by taking responsibility for the strategy underlying logistics. Some 4PL providers employ external 3PL companies to provide transportation and warehousing. So should we include providing the strategy behind the logistics as well, so that we can become a 4PL? What will this do to our business model? Because we're already in the 3PL and we've got the resources. So being involved in client strategies can help us actually increase our market share. The political environment is favorable. The economic environment is favorable, right? But what is the demographics, the socio-cultural environment of the economy, right? We need to think about that. The legality or the legal issues, technology, because we are a developed economy. So let's make use of technology. Here, shared versus dedicated 3PL. Right? We have dedicated arrangements that grant exclusive use of specific assets belonging to the 3PL provider. That could mean that a number of vehicles will be painted in the client's colors and will be used on the client's business, or a warehouse could be set aside for the client's exclusive use. Right? How do we improve our services, our storage services? Perhaps through the use of technology as well. All right. Storage facilities must be configured and equipped to handle the goods that will flow through them, right? Some are refrigerated, right? Others are just normal containers or storage facilities. Wooden pallets so that they can be lifted by forklift trucks. That usually requires warehouses to have loading docks that enable forklifts to drive into cargo trailers when loading or unloading. The main storage space in the warehouse will then have to permit free and safe movement of forklifts so that pallets can be placed in storage or picked for dispatch. All right. Now, these are road, we have rail, sea, and we've got air as well. What are we doing? How can we look at this particular environment, right? And have the understanding or develop our model to ensure that we satisfy our clientele. Right. Then we go into Daistruk itself, looking at its internal environment and how we operate. Now, the company now employs 22,000 people, including 7,000 drivers. So can we look into driverless cars using artificial intelligence, all right, which will help us perhaps cut our drivers, the number of our drivers, to about 1,000 perhaps, all right, so that we have 16,000 instead of 22,000 people. So automation is something that can help us to cut costs. Here we are being told that we are one of the largest 3PL logistics providers in Roundland, which provides intermodal logistics management services to many large organizations, including the following. So what is intermodal? All right. So we provide 2 or more modes in a single journey. We can provide air and road, air and rail, right? For example, a shipping container might arrive at a Roundlandian port by sea, be offloaded into a railway wagon that carries in it to a terminal at which it is loaded onto an articulated truck for delivery to the final destination. So we've used rail and road. So we need to reduce the times, right? This is where we can employ more just in time, right? We do our clearing and everything. Then by the time the container reaches the port, right, we are there to collect in real time. And we can make use of machines instead of humans. This is the kind of thought process that you need to have. Any thoughts? So we have a couple of activities that we do here: inventory management, shared user storage and handling, outsourced warehouse management, shared usage transport. So what are our core competencies, right? We are told that clients provide Daistruk with access to relevant data held on their enterprise resource planning systems. Daistruk uses a warehouse management system to track inventory levels and movement of goods. Right? Daistruk can manage elements of a client's supply chain. Clients may issue instructions relating to the movement. How do they issue these instructions? Or they may ask Daistruk to monitor and manage inventory at different locations. So the case study itself is very easy to pass if you have done your homework properly. And remember, always remember that at a strategic level, always think technology, digital transformation. But as you're thinking digital transformation, you also need to think of cybersecurity issues. Any questions? All right. So if no questions, you can now go and do your homework. After we've done this, before our next lesson, why don't you guys do your analysis and think of how you can improve the business model? Yes, Tando.
Sorry, Natalie, had you sent this pre-scene to us?
Yes, I can resend it.
Please, I don't have it.
Okay. Perhaps you were not in the group the time I shared it.
Thank you.
All right.
So you want us to just analyze with nothing to specifically concentrate on, just what we can analyze on.
Remember, you are looking at ecosystem analysis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's ecosystem analysis. Don't go too much ahead of me.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you for today.
Sorry, Natalie.
Yes.
Sorry. This is our last, the case study is supposed to be our last exam, right?
Yes.